All right, what's up? Matthew Parsons here, and diving into the idea of I'm living my life, but is there, in certain areas of my life, is there something that could be better? And so I had an interesting thing happen to me yesterday. Actually, didn't even happen to me, happened to someone I was with. I was playing the Wii with my daughter. She's 13 years old, and we were playing the Wii, and it was a pool game. And in the pool game, what you had to do is you had to hold the Wii remote and you had to pull it straight back, and then you had to push it forward. And every single time that she did this, she'd pull it back, and then it would somehow go, oh, you can't take a shot. And she kept going, what's going on? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And she kept pulling it back, and message would pop up. She couldn't hit the ball. And she just, I mean, we're talking 30 times this happened. 30 times this happened. And I looked at her and I said, now, I waited a while because it was helping me win. So once I had the game firmly in hand, what I said was, have you read the screen? And she was like, what are you talking about? I said, look at the screen. When you pull it back, what does it say? And sure enough, she was pulling the Wii remote straight back. Actually, she wasn't pulling it straight back, because what happened was it said, you have to have the Wii remote pointing at the screen at all times. So she was pulling it back and then dropping it down like this, so it was pointing at the ground, and it lost its connection, and so she couldn't hit the ball. And it said this every single time that she did it. She pulled it back, little pop-up thing said, hey, you're doing this wrong. And she kept going, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And here's the thought that dawned on me, is that in my life, I know that there's something better. I know that there's a better way to do something. I know that I'm doing something wrong, but I keep going, what's going on? The machine must be broken. I'm blaming it on other things. Again, it comes back to that story that I have in my head, that somehow, some way, there's something wrong. And 9 times out of 10, that thing is flashing right in our front of our face going, you're doing it wrong. And so I began looking across the different areas of my life, right? Physically, relationally, in my money, in my spirituality. I began looking at these things and asking myself, are there red flags? Are there flashing messages? And I'm ignoring them and just going, oh, well, something else is happening. It's not my fault. Right? So like, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, in my marriage, if there's no intimacy, if there's no sex that is happening in my marriage, then that's a red flag. There's something going off, there's something wrong. And now in my head, I'm going, what's going on? I don't understand it. Why isn't this happening? Why doesn't my wife want to be with me? Oh, it must be something wrong. Must be something with her, or so on and so forth. I can't imagine that the problem would ever be something that I'm doing. Right? Or my kids aren't talking to me. We're not communicating. My kids don't come to me and they don't share. And I'm going, oh, well, it's because they're teenagers and so on and so forth. Baloney. The fact is relationships are relationships. If I'm investing into those relationships, I will get something out. If I'm depositing in, I can pull something out of that bank account. So am I depositing into my kids' lives? Maybe it's in my money, living month to month, barely scraping by, and I keep going, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? There's this flashing red thing that's saying, hey, you're barely making it. Well, maybe it's time to try something new. Maybe it's time to pause and look at what is actually happening. Maybe there are clear signals on how I can level up and change things. Maybe it's in my body, right? I can't walk up the stairs without getting winded. Right? Or I got a steep slope down to my mailbox, and I get out of my car and I look at it and I go, I'm not walking all the way down there. That's just too far. I'm going to be winded by the time I get down there. Red flag, red flag. It's right there. It's right in front of us, but we ignore it. Something's wrong. I don't know what's working. Why isn't it working? I don't feel close to God and my spirituality. Man, why don't I feel this inner peace? Why don't I feel like this deep connection with God? Boy, something must be wrong. Boy, what is it? What's going on? God doesn't love me. Oh, no. There's a message and it's flashing. Hey, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And the funny thing is, in each and every one of these areas, we know the answers. Information is not a problem these days. You want to lose weight? You can lose weight. You want to have intimacy with your wife? It's not hard. Invest in her. You want to have intimacy with your children and have conversation? Invest in them. You can't walk up the steps. You can't walk down to the mailbox. Then start training your body. There's not a lack of information. My pastor one time, well, we'll get into that some other time. My point is that as we're looking across the board at physical, relational, money, and spirituality, when we're looking at all of these things, there are red flags that are going, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong, you're doing it wrong, and still we just ignore them. And we think this is the way that it's supposed to be. There's something outside of me that is wrong. And that's the wrong mindset. You need to shift it to, what can I do? Can I pause? That'd be number one, right? Pause. Take a look at it. See the forest for the trees. Pause and go and examine it and say, okay, this area, there's something that's going on. Maybe I can look around and figure it out. I have this happen all the time in technology. I teach technology at my real estate office, and people will go, I don't know how to do this. And I'll go, well, wait a second. Look at the screen for just a second. Is there some sort of indicator on what you can do? They don't try to make this stuff hard. They try to make it simple, right? They try to make it simple for you to use. Oh, well, wait, yeah, if I look around on the screen and nothing was saving, and I scroll down a little bit and I see the save button there. Well, there you go. But people don't slow down, pause, and examine what's going on. So there you go. There you go. Where in your life are there red flags? Are there messages right in your face that you are completely and totally ignoring and missing and dismissing as not being relevant to you? That could be a huge step, that if you were to pause and examine these things, that you could begin to level up in each and every one of these areas. I'm Matthew Parsons. I want to encourage you to subscribe to this YouTube channel. I want to encourage you to share this with friends if you're getting some value out of this. Thank you, and God bless.